On today's show, we visit Pilgrim Hall Museum, pop up at the Plymouth Waterfront Festival, hear original poetry, get a short Just the Facts update on Duxbury town government, and shine a light on local producer show, Healthy Kingston.
And if you're looking to learn or just have some fun, we'll also be talking about classes, programs, and upcoming things to do in Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, and Duxbury.
We're glad you're here. Let's get started. Tiff and the local Scene Street team popped up at the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce's annual Waterfront Festival and talked with some local nonprofits.
Hi, we're thrilled to be stationed right here at Brewster Gardens for the Plymouth Waterfront Festival, presented by the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. It's going to be a great day filled with great food, great activities, happy faces, and of course, a whole lot of community. Let's see what these folks have to say. I'm with Amy Naples, Executive Director for the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. So great to see you as usual.
So great to see you, and thank you so much for being here.
Our pleasure. So it feels like the Waterfront Festival is like the quintessential farewell to summer. What brings people back every year?
I think of that, exactly what you just said. It's kind of the event of the summer, the end of summer before kiddos go back to school, and there's just so much to offer. There's something for everybody in the family. There's the car show, the Ducky Dash, kids entertainment. We have a young entrepreneur section. We have artisans and crafters so people can do their shopping. So there's a little something for everybody. And of course, our entertainment throughout the day.
Why do you think events like this are important to the community?
These type of events are so important because it brings money into town, and not only are people coming here to the festival, but they're going and patronizing the local businesses. They are going into the shops. It showcases our community in so many ways, and we have a lot of visitors that travel here out of state to join us. They plan their vacations around this, which we know they're in the hotels. We know they're visiting all the restaurants and the retailers. They're going to the museums and things like that. So all these types of events are so important to us.
Well, it was such a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Tiff. Always a pleasure.
I'm with Maria from the American Red Cross, such a wonderful organization. What brings you here today?
Hi, good morning. Today I'm representing the Disaster Cycle Services, a branch for the American Red Cross that we assist people in need. And today we're promoting the home fire campaign. We are signing up people to get free smoke alarms and free carbon monoxide detectors installed in their house.
Why is that important, you think?
Well, it's proved that carbon monoxide detectors, they give you time to evacuate your property in case a fire happens, and it's only 2 minutes that you have to be safe and sound before the fire, start getting bigger. So carbon monoxide won't stop a fire per se, but they will warn you with enough time for you and your family to get out safely. And the carbon monoxide is extremely important. Carbon monoxide is a gas that has no odor, taste, color, and it's extremely dangerous that will kill you.
Such a wonderful service. I didn't know American Red Cross did that. That's incredible.
Yes, if you live in the area, please come to the American Red Cross stand. We'll be happy to sign you up. My volunteer team goes out in weekly basis, and we go to homes. We test what you have, and you need it. We are going to provide it for free to you and your family. We want every home safe in the area. And I have a little, I don't know if you can see it here.
We'll put it up on the screen.
Yes, I have a little flyer from the Red Cross that is showing that you have you scan the QR code and you go directly and sign up for free smoke alarms and carbon monoxides.
Wonderful. Maria, it was such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Kristen from the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy. It's so great to see you today.
Thank you, Fitz. So good to see you too. Thank you for having me here.
Can you tell me a little bit about your organization and its mission?
Yeah, of course. So at the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy, we're based in Chatham, Massachusetts, so on Cape Cod, and we support scientific research, we improve public safety, and we're educating our communities about great white sharks here off of Massachusetts.
So is there is there a plight of the white sharks? Is there any issues that we should know about?
So they are a re-emerging population here with protections on a federal and state level that happened about 30 years or so ago now. We now are starting to see great whites come back to areas like Cape Cod and Cape Cod Bay and North and South Shore, where historically they've always been.
Mm-hmm.
So for us now, we're able to apply tags on them to learn about inshore and offshore movements. So then we can actually learn about where they're going and how often they're off of public swimming beaches. So then, which allows us to share that with towns. So then they can have the information to improve those public safety initiatives that are happening here.
How can we support white sharks in the population?
Yeah, of course. One, follow us to learn about what we do, but also just staying informed. They can download our app Sharktivity, where our research team and our ecotourism team input all of the great white shark sightings that they are seeing out on the water, but also if you're out on the water and you see a great white, you can also input your sightings too. So it's a great way for citizen science to be involved.
Lots of valuable information. Kristen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am with Donna Curtin and Peter Brown from the one and only Pilgrim Hall Museum. It's so great to see you guys. How are you?
Oh, excellent. This is beautiful. What a perfect spot.
Perfect day for the wonderful Waterfront Festival here in Plymouth. We love this event so much.
So tell me what's happening with Pilgrim Hall Museum. What's new?
We're about to turn 201 years old. Isn't that amazing? I don't feel a day over 200.
No, it's just, I pinch myself every day when we go in there.
We are going to celebrate on Friday, August 29th, and we're going to be open free. So people all over the listening region here can come and visit Pilgrim Hall Museum on that day. Free admission. We open at 9:30. We're going to have WATD on the front porch doing a live broadcast from 6 to 10. And then we're going to have birthday cupcakes as long as they last, and a chance to see the incredible artifacts that Pilgrim Hall Museum is the steward of. You can't find things like this anywhere else. We are the premier place to see actual authentic artifacts of the early history of our region.
Very nice.
So tell her a little bit about the restoration project that we got going on.
Oh yeah, we've been busy at our beautiful museum, as you know. A brand new roof to keep everything dry and safe, and we just completed an amazing conservation project of 2 huge artworks. And I believe Local Scene was down there to capture some of that footage when it was going on, so we hope to see that soon too. But people, the public can come at any time that we're open, but also on our birthday, August 29th, to see these enormous paintings as they haven't been seen for 150 years.
Wow, that's so exciting.
So there's an interesting fact about one of the paintings, about that mysterious picture of the face in there. Will you want to tell her about that?
We did discover during the process of conserving the paintings, someone had made an alteration, a serious addition, and they had stuck somebody's head, like a photobomb, into this historic 19th century painting. And it caused us to have to consider, do we keep the photobomb in, or do we restore the original artwork the way the artist intended it? And I don't even know, should I do the spoiler or just make people come down and find out what it was?
They should come see
They
it.
should
Yeah,
come see
exactly.
it. Well, did we keep the head? Did we remove the head?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun-dun. Only you can find out at Pilgrim Hall Museum.
What's interesting is the 2 paintings that we took off to be restored, the wall behind it hasn't been seen for over 150 years.
Wow.
So some of the stuff that was stuck behind there, that like this thick of dust. And it was just amazing. And you found a letter or something behind one of the paintings, right? Somebody had signed something?
We found a few things, and I believe somebody put a signature for future generations behind one of those paintings, but I'm not saying who did it. But we wouldn't have been able to do that project without the help of our Town Visitors Services Board. They were really helpful, and we did a lot of that conservation work right in the public eye, and they were fascinated. You don't get a chance to see this work. It won't happen again for another 150 years, is my guess. So it was really awesome to have that this summer at the museum.
Why is it important for these events like this to be in the community?
oh, isn't it just fun? You can see everybody in Plymouth down here at the Plymouth Waterfront
Absolutely.
Festival. And it just gives you a sense of, the place where we live, the people that we work with, the wonderful businesses, the wonderful media outlets like our, local scene folks here. And you just, it's welcoming, it's inviting, and we all reconnect with one another.
Well, it's just the historical part of it. And this is where America started.
Right.
And you're seeing these kind of venues, the people that come in with their small arts and crafts and the jellies and the food products part of it. This is how it started. And it's just a continuation of it. And when you come down here on the waterfront, you can walk this whole street, car show, shop, then you walk up to Court Street, and you have all the museums and the arts, and hopefully they'll come see Pilgrim Hall Museum because we're open today. But it's just a beautiful scenery.
Wonderful.
It makes you really proud to be part of the wonderful South Shore communities that we live in.
Definitely. Always such a pleasure to see you folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Due to its popularity, the September iPhone photography series at the Plymouth Center for Active Living filled up quickly. But fear not, all you fetching phone photographers out there. Registration for the new October series is open now, geared toward users of the iPhone 12 and newer. Sorry, Android users. These classes will focus on topics such as storing, finding, and sharing photos, making videos, using the iPhone's editing tools, and taking beautifully composed landscape, portrait, or travel photos. October's classes take place on Monday, October 6th and 20th and November 3rd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Space in this popular series of free classes is limited and will be gone in a flash, so head to the center's website now to register.
Have you been to the Local Scene Studios yet? Join us on Saturday, September 27th from 5 to 7 p.m. at our space at 4 Collins Avenue, Suite B, for the very first Gallery at the Local Scene art opening. Experience the artwork of Haley Ghosty McCourt, Theodora Earthworms, and Brian Huntress. Along with displaying his art, Brian will be performing a live acoustic set of original music in our community space. Plus, step into the world of photography and visit Ed Newt's on-site open studio and see some stunning works of photographer Jim Curran. The art and photography are unique, the snacks will be delicious, and the live music something you won't forget. A night of local creativity at the Local Scene. We hope you stop by to check it out. We went on the Local Scene to Pilgrim Hall Museum to check in on the progress of their historical painting restoration.
First of all, we weren't certain if we would be able to accomplish this task. As you know, the museum had so many needs. We needed to replace the entire roof. We needed new building systems to provide us with the environment where the precious documents and artwork and furniture and things that we have can be preserved over time. And we thought, well, can we take an additional step? Can we find the wherewithal to also address these two enormous paintings? And just the scale of them was a little daunting for us, because they are not, the ordinary portrait on the wall that you can just take down and send to a studio and have it conserved. These are enormous paintings, 14 feet across by 12 feet in height. They also have their beautiful historic frames that need attention. So we spent quite a few years thinking about whether or not this was possible. And this part of our project, the museum has funded with the assistance of actually the Town of Plymouth Promotions Fund, gave us a wonderful grant so we could have part of the project be a public event for people to come and see. These have been part of our art landscape here for almost 150 years now. Although many here in Plymouth may not be familiar with them, and we'd certainly like people to get better acquainted with them. But it's hard to do when things aren't in a condition where you can actually see what the artist has put on the canvas. So every now and then, every century or so, it's really important for museums like ours to invest in the process to bring these paintings back so you can appreciate the artist's vision. And in our case, these artists are showing a scene that is absolutely fundamental to our community, the establishment of Plymouth Colony and its roots. How did people end up deciding they were going to come here? What were the decisions that they made? What was that like emotionally for these families? And that's what these paintings that we have now conserved show us. So these two large paintings that we've been looking at show the same scene, the Pilgrim's departure from Holland in July of 1620. And they're leaving where they have lived for about a dozen years in exile in Leiden, the city of Leiden in the Netherlands. And they've sold their homes in some cases. They're ready to make this big move. It's a huge unknown what they're stepping into. And they're boarding this little vessel called the Speedwell. And it's going to take them to Southampton in England. They're going to meet up with a larger ship, the Mayflower. And the two ships are going to sail over together. That was the plan. Didn't exactly work out that way. This little Speedwell that we see in the scene of both of these paintings actually never made it across the Atlantic. It had to be abandoned and left behind. But both of these artists, one an English artist, Charles Lucy, in 1847, he chose to represent the scene, and it really is this classic scene of what we think of as America's story coming over. America is an immigrant nation. Obviously, we had a well-established culture here in all regions of our land today, the indigenous peoples who were here. But the story of America is the story of people coming from other parts of the world. And these paintings show that moment of departure. So Charles Lucy, this Englishman, was struck by this story and he did one version of it. That's the painting that's behind me right now. And then the other one was done for the United States Congress and created by a painter called Robert Ware, an American painter, and that hangs in the US Capitol Rotunda. So we can't have that painting here at Pilgrim Hall. And in 1875, the museum decided they really wanted to have that painting available here in Plymouth because it's our story here. So we hired an artist, Edgar Parker, and he actually went to the US Capitol Rotunda in the summer of 1875 and copied the original painting and brought his canvas here to Plymouth, unrolled it, and it's been on the wall of the museum since 1875, which is why it needed some additional care. It's a fantastically well-executed copy, beautifully painted and done, and we can see all these wonderful details that Edgar Parker very carefully copied from the original. And it is the only copy in Pilgrim Hall Museum, but it's pretty impressive as a copy. There's nothing like really seeing a process of professional work done in the museum world, in this case, the conservation of artwork. Most of us have no idea how this work is done. It is a scientific process. Every aspect of it is just sort of minutely analyzed because the goal is to maintain the original artwork, to restore that original artwork. But to do that, you want to take off the grit and grime of years. You actually are using a solvent. You're removing things from the surface of a painting. Now, I don't know about you, but that would terrify me, thinking, oh, I don't want to touch this because I could destroy it. And that's absolutely right. You need to have these wonderful trained conservators who understand. They'll use their little Q-tips. They'll use these tiny amounts of things. So they've really literally gone over these massive canvases centimeter by centimeter. And as they're doing that work, they're discovering things in each little section of the painting, and they share that with the museum. They share that. They have been sharing that with members of the public who have been able to see part of this process, and with our volunteers. We have a fantastic volunteer crew that have come to us from the town, from Pine Hills, Red Brook, from the downtown area, from all the villages of Plymouth. We've had people volunteering to help with this project, which is wonderful. So when the public comes in, they're invited into a portion of the original main hall. for the next few weeks until we move on to the next phase of construction, and then we'll need to stop access to this area for a while. But it's an opportunity probably to get as close to these paintings as anyone is ever going to get, and to see them in a way that people haven't seen for literally 140 years. They are pristine, they are beautiful, there are so many decisions that were made about this treatment as it was taking place that have in some ways changed these paintings, where we're not looking at exactly the same things we were looking when they came down. We will be making available some of the before and afters, and there's some very, very striking before and afters, things that surprised us. I'll just say, look for Edward Winslow's missing head. That's all I'm going to say. We've tackled most of what the restoration project intended to do. New roof, the building envelope has been repointed so water isn't getting in anymore. An absolutely wonderful new HVAC system. We are here on a tremendously humid and hot day in Plymouth. It is just like a dream here in Pilgrim Hall, and the paintings like that. They like this kind of conditioned environment, and it's good for people too. So really, it's mostly the lighting, and then on the other side, when the light is installed, and we've got a huge volume in the space, it goes up 32 feet to the crest here. That really occupies the space. People are up on scaffolding, they're up on lifts, there's wires, it's a lot of electrical work, so that is something we can't have the public in the space. But when that is done, then the next thing is going to be getting all the rest of the artwork back up in these walls. And that's going to be quite a process. We have to bring all the artwork out, we have to examine its hardware, we have to work with art handlers. It's a tricky space to install, and but I can't wait. But we'll have our 3 giant paintings back on the wall, these 2 that now have just been placed back, and then of course the large painting, the Henry Sargent landing in the Pilgrims, that was restored a few years ago and is really one of the centerpieces of the museum. So this space is just going to be, it's going to look like, I don't think anyone's ever seen it before, with everything so freshly restored. I have always loved the sense of history in growing up here on the South Shore. You drive down a little back road, you see an old barn, you see an old house, you see an old stone wall. These were the features that I grew up with, and to me they are beauty. I've always loved them. And then it's not just the aesthetic, it is everything that you look at in this historical landscape that we occupy has a story to it. And one of those stories is the story of the indigenous people that were here. As a child, I used to go out, see the stone walls that the colonists built, and find arrowheads in the forest soil. And so these layers of our history that are right here have just always fascinated me. And we've got some great local memories here. There's so many people. It doesn't matter if it's the 17th century history, the 18th century history, or the history maybe of we have from our grandfathers and even from our parents' generation that can tell us what their lives were like here. These layers, I think, are really vital to understanding the place that we live, and I like to have an understanding of the place where I live, and I encourage others to do the same. It's very rewarding.
To quote Winnie the Pooh, the first day of autumn, a time of hot chocolatey mornings and toasty marshmallow evenings, and best of all, leaping into leaves. Celebrate the cooling air at the Plymouth Public Library's Fall Fun Fest, Plymouth's 6th annual Health and Wellness Fair on September 27th. The front lawn of the library will be packed with fun activities for the whole family, including a mobile farmers market, fun for the kids, a cooking demonstration, and lots of informative health and social service education and resources. The good times are from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's free to all.
Nuestra America, stories of 30 inspiring Latinas and Latinos who have shaped the United States, is a book exploring the background, childhood, challenges, and victories in the journey of Latino contribution to the social, political, and cultural fabric of the United States. Join Adrienne Aldalba and Emily Key from the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Latino on October 2nd for a virtual conversation highlighting some of the book's inspirational stories. This event will be hosted by the Duxbury Free Library and run from 2 to 3 p.m. Register through the library's website to receive your link to the program.
Next up is poet Ed Gaudet.
Our next reader, again, is someone new to me, but I think he's read a few times for Miriam, and his name is Ed Gaudet. Please come up.
And I am not anti-male either. I just wanted to get that out there. All right, so I'm going to start with a new one I wrote. It's like 4 hours old. I became a grandparent a couple months ago. It's called Grandparenting, an apt title. To become the people one despises with their cooing and wooing and facial surprises is a wake-up call to embrace the racket of age without rage or losing one's face. It's no longer just two again, but three, less four, with dogs and frogs, doing the best we can. This is a special way of being alive while dying. His blue eyes and milk cries endear us even when he's peeing. We rock and burp and sing weird grunts all the while. He toots and soots and drools, his hair an old man's beard. We once had plans for Venice and France. Now we pine for his chubby chin and grin and check a clock as he leaves and brings back his little dance. All right. This is called Dear First Cheat. It's a love poem. Tonight the embers will fade in the valley of our sister hamlets. Tonight the place you were born is the place you'll die eventually. I'll show up and surprise you with roses, but your candy stripes will be gone. As your stuttering girlfriend says, she's not here, left on break. Some other guy picked you up, maybe held your hand, kissed you. My mistake is believing in the resolute urgency of why most every woman I have known will have their own version of this lover's verse eventually. This one's called Zwick's Farm Road. These are uplifting poems, I know, thanks. This one's called Zwick's Farm Road. This is a street I grew up on. There is a door at the end of a development road where the property walls guard it from lush green greens and marsh fog that cloaks cattails like silent priests burnt from the inside by moonlight and kerosene. The neighbors here don't wave hello, prefer to pull memory down into a dark grin and breathe it out as the faces of girls we forgot to forget. Listen, a blackbird lifts out of this valley, carrying the names of mothers on a porch which still rocks and whispers your first lie to the ghost of a father. I took you here to lay down in the wet leaves where a bottle slept and fire dreamed of becoming the ocean. Time passed. The moon came. We kissed without touching. The stars said nothing. And this one is called The Knotty Pine Experiment, with an epigraph for John Ashbery from the Plywood Years. Time got left out of the equation. In the basement, lust spins faster than a washing machine. Why would she blush, I thought. Don't think too much, lust whispered. She will lock you in. The line was out the bulkhead door, and soon I was a cad. Running the Space Invader table had that effect. I guess a joystick can be a friend, but blacklight never light bright. Who said a hand in need doesn't work as hard? I won't make class. They will wonder if I'm dead. Jack Keats said youth is wasted on beauty, but you are not a marble man, nor overwrought. The next night, they found me under the bleachers. Football and a fifth was comfort then, just like it'll be after we have kids. One purred at the cold, the other pursed, then exhaled. The girls continued to show up, backs against the musty pine boards. We explored our thoughts on Siddhartha. My friend would say, one was salad, two will kill you faster than sirloin. Those were the years when water was only ice, reimagined. Soul, the whole world. Music, life, love, never consideration. And then lastly, this is called Bearings. Where we grew up, you never locked. I'm sorry, let me start again. Bearings. Where we grew up, you never knocked, just flew open, unlocked doors. Ate Captain Crunch and Frankenberry with a friend cross-legged laughing at Wile E. Coyote while your parents woke up and made coffee. As a father, Art was knocking back several Johnny Walker Blacks after breaking his back all night at the Meriden plant making ball bearings for bicycle wheels and bomb sights, punching steel rods into formed raw balls faster than eye can see, grinding, heating ferro alloy into hard spherical precisions before driving home, boring down on us and nodding off to do it all over again. My sister escaped at 12 for the first time through her bedroom window and kept running until she turned 17 and came home to throw up every few hours. She told me she was pregnant the day we heard Elvis died while buying Pepto-Bismol, Cosmo, and Mad Magazine in a downtown Gettysburg pharmacy. The next year, we had to bear the blizzard of '78, which just hit after she delivered. My father, not having the stomach to talk about it, went on a three-day bender while Mom covered the living room furniture in plastic. And the town lost power, made it hard to read comics and play Atari. Pong forced us outside, so we built skyscrapers to winter sun, which kept us warm, safe from thunder, snow, and home's merciless steel cold. Thanks.
Thank you, Ed.
Did you know that insects make the best detectives? Forensic entomology is a scientific discipline that applies bug biology to the investigative work of solving crimes. On Saturday, October 18th, kids are invited to Seoul Homestead to learn more about forensic entomology with entomologist and Plymouth County Extension educator Blake Dinius. Blake will show kids how insects can help provide answers to timing and what happened at the scene of a crime. This free and fascinating program starts at 10 a.m. in the West Classroom. Pre-registration is required. Visit the upcoming events page on the Seoul Homestead website.
The Duxbury Recreation Center is offering wrestling training for boys and girls in grades 1 through 5. This popular introductory program is scheduled for December 1st through January 29th, with no class over Christmas vacation or on January 15th. And will be held at the Steel Gym. Taught by Duxbury High School wrestling coach Kyle McCarthy, students will get an introduction to the sport, learn core strengthening and stretching as warm-ups, the basic skills required, and lots of wrestling practice for strength and endurance. Participants will need their own wrestling shoes. Pin down your child's spots on the mat in this popular program and visit the Duxbury Rec Department's website for more information and to sign up.
Dave Antoine is up next with a Just the Facts update on Duxbury government on the local scene.
The final August 2025 meeting of the Duxbury Select Board began with a public hearing on the transfer of an aquaculture to Christopher Burns, a longtime resident with extensive experience in oyster farming. With Richard Brennan, the town's Shellfish Advisory Committee chair, leading, he discussed the detailed 3-year plan presented by Mr. Burns in relation to a grant on the aquaculture. That committee had a vote of 5 in favor with 1 abstention, revealed by the chair before Christopher Burns himself spoke, citing his field experience. The board voted favorably for the transfer itself. The board then revisited a topic from their last meeting, a discussion pertaining to a mass housing response letter about a proposed 40B with the villas at Keene Brook. Even without her presence at the meeting, the words of Select Board member Amy McNabb were heard through Town Manager Rainey Reed. Amy's comments began with the villas as a limited dividend organization that was presumably incorporated in Alabama. Upon review of this with the Alabama Secretary of State's office, no such organization had existed. Ms. McNabb believed that looking into this proposal, that there'd need to be consideration with how this organization would agree to limit its profits pursuant to Mass state law and not Alabama itself. The comments went further into elaborate the value of the purchase price of the property being $995,000, but the organization claiming that it's over $3.8 million. Ms. McNabb felt that this raised the question about the land value abutting Route 3 and how we go from nearly $1 million to almost $4 million, given the $995,000 was priced in May 2025. Her comment then looked at the developer's qualifications, given their consultant roles in architecture, construction, and engineering, but are listed only as an applicant for the property and not the aforementioned roles. Additionally, the concern was that this site is home to wetlands and endangered species, the latter being the eastern box turtle in its habitat. Her comments addressed concerns about the impact of the town's taxes, water supply, and municipal services, along with previous responses by the developer. Cindy Ladd-Fiorini attended remotely, recalled earlier that a development on this property was rejected due to sightline concerns, one that the board had certainly noted. Member Michael McGee believes that the conclusory statements, identified by Amy as false, misleading, and absurd comments, would need to be explored further. Michael also felt that on the topic of Alabama, would this require discussion with town council and more exploration? The board felt that the organization's incorporation may be a tricky topic. Overall, the board looked to Rainey to work with Amy to further flesh out her comments. Rainey then continued with his town manager's report, giving a shout out to the town's DPW, Water Department, and Mass DOT for their fast work related to a project that required reduction of a Route 3A lane, given the work needed to be completed before the school year began. Rainey also discussed the comprehensive plan that is Envision Duxbury, a rather extensive document that will be looked at in future meetings with Planning Director Matthew Hines. This has been your Duxbury Government Access on the local scene.
There will be a vast array of eclectic, artistic, unique vendors offering treasures and unique finds of all kinds at the Sip and Stroll Oktoberfest at the Kingston Collection on Saturday, October 4th. A full day of indie spirit. Come roam around from 12 to 5 p.m. and shop the wares of over 100 vendors. Feed your hunger at local food trucks, check out some live music, and of course, it's not an Oktoberfest sip and stroll without the beer. The event is free for all to attend.
The ghosts of our feminist past will be haunting the Phalo Room at the Plymouth Public Library on Thursday, October 9th, revealing their spirit and providing historical perspective on how the chains they rattled helped shake doors open in ways that continue to benefit women today. Paranormal Parlor, a brief history of women, spiritualism, and the paranormal, will visit how spiritualism empowered women in unexpected ways, especially during the Victorian era, by emboldening them to push back against some of the social norms of the time. From bold sex educators to women who claim to channel entire books, meet some of the fascinating women who helped shape the psychic arts between 1840 and the 1920s. This program is appropriate for all ages and starts at 4:30 p.m. Visit the library's website to register. Susan Thanis is next with a reading of her original work.
So we're going to bring up Susan Thanis, please.
Kind of nice. And I'm sorry I was late. I went to the buildings across the other street from the library, and they helped me find it. Oh, no. Find the right place, so I'm glad I was here. The first poem I'd like to read is called A Favorite Place, and perhaps you can guess where it is before you find out at the end. A favorite place. Not so far from home, but like another world, this spit of land where boats turn into the bay or out into the Atlantic seems a continent away. Blue water washes the shores on both sides of the road as I drive out to meet it. When I am halfway there and see it shining in the sun, that's enough. I pull over and pull out my camera in case a snowy owl or a windsailor flies by. Then I drive the whole way out, climb the steps to the edge of the cliff, and look all the way back from my spirit home at Gurnet Light. Crinkled canvases. Painting seashells is like preserving rare canvases. So many lie on the beach or beneath the bridge, dropped by gulls, empty of inhabitants, but perfect for painting. At home, I scrub and soak them in water and bleach. When dry, a coat of complementary color prepares them for a scene, often one of where they came from. Many people collect them only to smash with hammers for a white walk or driveway. But I like to keep them whole and create scenes of beauty on crinkled canvases, one-of-a-kind oyster shells. And this last one is, you'll find out a little bit about my childhood. Lemonade. Freckles galloped across the bridge of my nose, new spots appearing every summer. They'll fade, you'll see, everyone said when I was 12. But not believing them, I'd sneak into the kitchen, peer inside the refrigerator to look for a lemon tucked under the lettuce in the bin below. Then, with knife in hand, I'd creep upstairs, hoping no one was in the bathroom. The blade, sliding beneath the peel, released a pungent spray from the pulp I rubbed on my cheeks and nose, blinking back tears. Now, I wish I still had those freckles instead of the ones covering my arms and hands. And I prefer my lemon on lobster or in tea. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Be a part of one of the world's largest short film festivals and its first ever global festival on September 30th at the Spire Center. Manhattan Short, World's First Global Film Festival 2025 will feature a curated selection of 10 short films culled from more than 1,600 entries from over 75 countries. Join audiences in venues around the world to watch and choose the film you like best. Each venue will submit their winner. The global results will be tallied, and on Monday, October 7th, the tallied results will be made known when the worldwide winner will be announced at the Manhattan Short HQ in New York City. Past finalists from the festival have gone on to be nominated and win Oscars in the short film category, and now you can be part of giving an independent filmmaker that shot and have a great evening watching some of the best short films from around the globe. Doors will open at 6 p.m. and the show will start at 7 p.m. and get your tickets through the Spire Center's website.
Tricks and treats will be equally embraced at the vendor market of all vendor markets that is puncture perfect for the spooky season. The Plymouth Punk Rock Halloween Market is on October 4th from 12 to 5 p.m. at the Mayflower Brewing Company at 12 Resnick Road in Plymouth. Hosted by Racket Pack, provider of high-quality punk rock-inspired merch for dogs and their humans, the market will feature over 60 vendors selling comic books, jewelry, clothing, art, and more weird stuff for weird people. There will be food, live music, and trick-or-treating for your little punkers. Since it is the season for cool and spooky costumes, wear yours. There's a costume contest, too.
Head to Soundcheck Studios in Pembroke on Saturday, September 27th for a band with all the intensity and passion of the band they are a tribute to. The Joshua Tree reproduces the unmistakable, unique sound of one of the most popular bands of all time, U2. Their set will cover a range of hits and fan favorites from U2's vast catalog, each tune performed with a well of artistic integrity, intensity, and emotion. Doors for this 21-plus event open at 7, and the music kicks off at 8. Tickets are available through Soundcheck Studios' website, and if you really want to make a beautiful day, gather a group and reserve a table on the top deck by the rail for a VIP experience. Just like your muscles, your brain benefits from a good workout. On Tuesday, September 30th, the Kingston Public Library is hosting passionate puzzle duo and the creative team behind the Barton Rakewell's Puzzling World book series, Aaliyah and Donnie Lombard, at the Adams Center to show people of all ages how you can work those memory muscles and sharpen up those synapses by learning how to play logic games. Topics will include how to solve cryptograms, Sudoku puzzle strategies, and word jumbles, and there will be plenty of hands-on activity puzzle practice. The class starts at 6 p.m. and you can register through the library's website.
And now, let's turn a light on local. Part of our mission as a community media center is to welcome members of the community into our studios to record their own show or podcast about subjects that matter to them. The resulting content reflects the diversity of thought and opinion in our neighbors and neighborhoods, but not necessarily the views of the local scene staff, board, or director. We are a platform for free speech. Janet Wade is a longtime community producer here at the local scene. Produced right here in Studio B, enjoy this clip from Janet's award-winning show, Healthy Kingston.
This program is loneliness and isolation and the need for socialization. What words would you give to people in the community who are isolated, who feel lonely, who are maybe a bit introverted or timid to come to a facility like this, to seek out other people, but would really love to have the community?
Sure. I think that that's a large portion of the people that come into the senior center every day. It's taking that first step just to come in, to tour the center. Anyone is always welcome to walk in and just say, this is my first time here, I want to see what you have to offer. What I typically do is immediately give someone the copy of our newsletter. These are all the programs that we have going on.
Which is tremendous, I have to say.
It is.
Several pages. It's amazing.
It's a small center, but we pack a
lot
lot
going on
in there.
Yeah.
So just taking that first step to come in, that's how people have developed the relationships that they have developed, because for whatever reason they're they've lost their spouse, they've moved, they've retired, they're looking for that next piece to keep them busy and to keep their social network thriving. So coming in, you're going to meet someone who's most likely in the exact same situation as you. They just want to stay social, they want to take an exercise class, they want to play cards, they want to quilt, they want to knit, or they're just there. You may know them as your neighbor. So I know sometimes it can be hard to take that first step, but we always encourage people. It's a friendly, welcoming place where most likely you're going to walk out of there ready to come back.
Oh, I would say so. I mean, anytime I've just walked through the door, I mean, the noise level and what's going on, and everyone's very social, and can I help you?
Right.
And yeah, it's really a bustling, very active, upbeat place.
If you like what you saw, find more of Healthy Kingston on our YouTube community producer channel at Community Producers at the Local Scene. And that, my friends, wraps this episode of The Local Scene this week. Thank you for watching.
And if you live or work in Plymouth, Pembroke, Kingston, or Duxbury and would like to have a show of your own or a podcast, you should. Email community@thelocalscene.media to find out about our free production services and training for community members.
And if you have a story or event you'd like people to know about, email us at story@thelocalscene.media.
And we thank our patrons, Tiny & Sons, Quintal Brothers, and Squinny's Pizza, for supporting our mission of community in action through media.
The Local Scene this week will be back next week with more of what's good and good to know in our area. Until then, we'll see you on The Local Scene. Hello, friend. If you enjoyed this video, please think about scanning the QR code and making a contribution to The Local Scene. Every dollar is appreciated, and your support helps keep community media alive and our resources free to the community. We'll see you on The Local Scene.